All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Before we get started, I'm just going to run through a few things on our end. So please note this webinar will be recorded and all attendees will be muted throughout the webinar. And to ask any questions, please use your Q&A facility at the bottom of your screen. And when the webinar ends, you'll be directed to complete a short survey for us. This will take less than a minute to complete and your feedback will be anonymous. And if you've dialed in as a guest today, you can view more information about becoming a member and having access to more events like this at www.sapusers.org/register. And if you have any questions, please contact us at support@sapusers.org. I'll hand over to Mahir now. We'll take you through the rest of this webinar.
Thanks, Toby. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar, a mandatory UK e-invoicing, what it means for SAP and finance teams. This session is presented by Simtrax and hosted by the UK and Ireland SAP user group. My name is Mihir Verma. I'm a solutions consultant at Simtrax, and I've spent the last 7 years working with SaaS and AI solutions and helping organizations in their digital transformation journeys. I'm also joined today by Janine Stapleton, Sales and Marketing Manager at Simtrax Limited.
Thanks, Mihir, and a warm welcome to everyone joining us today. Just a quick introduction from my side. Simtrax operates across 8 global offices, and today we're presenting to you live from our London office, where Mihir and I are based. And to set the context, the UK government confirmed in November 2025 that it would introduce mandatory e-invoicing and is developing the implementation roadmap. This will cover both B2B and B2G transactions. For SAP users, the focus is not only on compliance, it's about making e-invoicing work in real finance and IT landscapes. It means extracting the right data from SAP, integrating with your existing invoice flows, and choosing an approach that remains flexible as requirements evolve. In this webinar, we will cover what the government has proposed and what businesses can start doing now to prepare. We hope you find this session informative. So let's get started.
Thank you, Janine. Before we begin, here's a quick look at today's agenda. First, we'll explain what an e-invoice is in practice, including the main formats. Then we'll look at e-invoicing in the UK, including the consultation, the outcome, the preferred model, and who it applies to. We'll then cover why AP, AR, and IT teams need to work closely together on this project, along with some best practices and what's ahead. After that, we'll show a short demo of Complo Invoice platform. That's our solution working in integration with SAP ERP, that's SAP ECC 6.0. And finally, we'll close with a quick introduction about Simtrax and a Q&A session as well. So let's dive in. So as defined on the UK government consultation page, e-invoicing is the digital exchange of invoice information directly between buyers and suppliers' financial systems, even if those systems are different. And the outcome is that the invoice is automatically entered into the buyer's system without any manual intervention. Now, when we talk about e-invoicing, 3 things matter the most. First is the format, basically the structure of the invoice itself. Protocols, basically how the invoice is transmitted or shared. And then norms, basically the rules and regulations that define what fields and details must be included, depending on the country or industry. In simple terms, unlike paper invoices or simple PDFs sent via email, e-invoices are created in structured formats such as XML or UBL. And these invoices are transmitted through set protocols like PEPAL, SFTP, or APIs. Most importantly, they must follow defined rules. For example, in some countries, the tax rate field or the buyer's VAT ID is mandatory. And if those fields are missing, the invoice will be rejected. Let's now look at the different types of invoices. First, the unstructured electronic invoices. These are digital invoices, but they come in formats such as PDFs, JPEGs, or Word documents, and also HTML invoices in an email or a web page. The key point here to understand is that the data is not reliably machine readable, so it often has to be re-entered or manually checked, which is slow and error prone. Now, in contrast, structured electronic invoices are created, sent, and received in a standard machine readable format, such as UBL or PEPAL BIS. And because the data is structured, invoices can be validated and processed automatically with very minimal human intervention. These files are not designed to look nice on screen. They're designed to be understood by systems. And as long as both parties support the same standard, it does not really matter if the buyer and supplier use same or different software. Finally, hybrid invoices combine both approaches. A good example is FactorX in France or Zuckford in Germany. These formats embed structured invoice data inside a PDF. So you get a human readable document for finance teams, plus a machine readable data for automated processing by systems. What you see on my screen here is a simple example of a structured invoice. You'll notice it contains the same key fields you'd usually see in a PDF invoice, parameters like invoice number, dates, supplier details, etc. The difference is that all of this information is organized in a machine readable format, and we'll go into more detail on how this works in the next few slides. Over to you, Janine.
Okay, I think we are coming up for a poll now, Mihir. Let's have a look at that. And Toby, can you launch that poll? Okay. Okay, so for Simtrax as a poll 1 question, which area of your organization will UK e-invoicing impact the most? So please just select a single choice. Outbound e-invoicing, AR or order to cash. Inbound processing, AP, procure to pay, both equally, or IT integration and operations. So we'll just give you some time to answer that. We know that e-invoicing is quite a complex subject, so it can require a lot of change management throughout different areas of the organization. Okay, Toby, do you have results there for us? Okay, wow. So it would, the highest that we see at 55%, hope you can see all of that. It will affect both equally. So your AP and your AR processes. And it's actually refreshing that you've said that and you've chosen that answer, even though it is going to cause some disturbances throughout your organization. It means that you understand what e-invoicing is. But for those that don't quite understand it fully, we are going to explore that later. Okay. So let's go through to the next slide, Mihir, and I believe we're going to be just talking a little bit more about e-invoicing in the UK. Right, so this is obviously what it's all about today, our webinar. So let's quickly walk through how e-invoicing has developed in the UK and what is now confirmed. First of all, let's look at a little bit of history. In May 2019, regulations required public procurement bodies to be able to receive electronic invoices. From April 2020, this applied to all public bodies. Suppliers had to submit invoices compliant with the European standard EN 16931, which defines the data structure for electronic invoices. So in practice, this is already embedded in parts of the UK public sector. For example, the NHS moved its supply chain onto PEPAL network in 2019. NHS trusts require suppliers to send invoices electronically, and they use PEPAL Biz 3.0, which is based on UBL, and they have to archive for 6 years. Okay, so what is PEPAL? Most of you know, some of you don't. PEPL is a secure interoperability network that enables organizations to exchange structured electronic documents in a standardized way. It is widely used across Europe and has become a common model for cross-system invoice exchange. So I hope that was a brief explanation that can be understood. So now we move to the most recent development. In February 2025, the HMRC and Department for Business and Trade launched a public consultation on standardizing e-invoicing across UK. The response was published in November 2025, and we have a little bit of, more direction from this. Here's what we do know is, number one, it's mandatory e-invoicing for VAT invoices from 2029. Invoices must be issued in a specific structured electronic formats. So no more PDFs or paper. You can't just send invoices around simply like this through the mail or just simply via email. The objective is interoperability. That's number two. Adoption in the UK has been low due to fragmented standards, and the government's position is that e-invoicing only delivers value when businesses exchange invoices in a consistent, standardized way. Thirdly, the detailed design is still in progress. So an implementation roadmap will be published at Budget 2026 with stakeholder work ongoing. So for SAP and finance teams, this is critical. Decisions on standards, exchange models, onboarding and exception handling will determine what needs to be built well before 2029. And then fourthly, the real-time reporting. People are questioning what's happening with this. It's not part of the 2029 launch. It is being explored separately, but the immediate priority is implementing e-invoicing first. So we've got to get that right, and then they'll see whether they add the e-reporting onto that. So just to sum up, the direction is confirmed. Mandate is here. It's coming in 2029, and so the timeline is defined, and the technical detail is still evolving. We're going to look at a likely approach, and it's probably the decentralized model, and I'll tell you why. The UK government has been evaluating these e-invoicing models, considering which one is best for UK businesses. So globally, there are two approaches that are used, the centralized and the decentralized. In a centralized model, the tax authority has full visibility of every invoice. However, it can be very expensive and complex for governments to implement. The UK government has already stated that it does not plan to explore this model. So therefore, it's decentralized model that will be adopted. And we'll look at the 4 and 5 corner models here, and they work differently. So to explain the 4 corner model, the supplier creates the invoice in their system. Their chosen provider formats and validates it. The invoice is sent across the network to the buyer's provider. The buyer's provider delivers it to the buyer's system for matching and approval. Then the status updates flow back so that both sides know where the invoice stands and what's going on with it. This model is already in use in countries such as Denmark, Greece, and Germany. Now, the 5 corner model, this is where the government is part of the process. Instead of just the supplier and the buyer exchanging invoices through their providers, a copy of the invoice data is sent in real time or almost or near real time to the tax authority. And this way, the government can track transactions as they happen. Examples of this approach can be seen in France and Belgium. Okay, so over to you, Mihir.
Thank you, Janine. Now, let's look at some of the adjustments AP and AR teams need to do or plan with invoicing. And I'm going to start with outbound invoices, which are handled by the accounts receivable team. Invoice format transformation. So this isn't just as simple as turning a PDF document into an XML file format. Formats like UBL or C2I often require data that sits across different systems. And honestly, managing that can be a real headache. Let's try to understand this using a real example. Under the latest PEPAL rules, if you issue an advance or deposit invoice, the final invoice must reference that deposit invoice number. And the question is that does your system, SAP system, actually track those partial payments and generate the right invoice references automatically? If the answer is no, you'll hit compliance errors. And remember, these rules keep evolving as new invoice type codes are introduced regularly. So the challenge isn't just generating XML, it's actually making sure your system can keep pace with all these new updates. The standard invoice format is just a starting point. In reality, many industries and large customers have business specific requirements and need extra fields. One of the most common requirements is with units of measure. Let's just say that today your SAP system shows box as a unit when you're selling goods. Under the PEPAL and EN 16931 standards, you cannot just write box anymore. You actually need to pick the correct code from the official list. And if your system isn't able to handle this properly, your invoice will fail the validation checks. You should be able to trace every invoice, when it was sent, how it was sent, what that invoice contains, whether it was delivered, and its current status. This gives you a full audit trail of that very invoice. Now let's move to inbound invoices managed by the accounts payable teams. Supplier invoices will arrive in structured formats that your current system may not understand. You will need a solution that can read and validate these invoices and then route them through AP automation for two-way or three-way matching, and then finally posting those invoices back onto your SAP system. Lastly, support for multiple protocols, and this applies to both AP and AR teams. Your invoicing system must be flexible to accommodate whichever transmission protocol your trading partner requires. Now, this could be EDI using AS2, PEPAL, or HTTPS-based API connections. So to summarize, the key questions you need to ask are A, can your SAP system handle all the required adjustments? B, does it fully match your business needs? And C, if upgrades are needed, what effort and cost would that involve? In many cases, repeatedly upgrading SAP to keep up with every new requirement is not the most cost efficient approach. Instead, you can partner with an external SaaS solution provider that handles the format changes, validations, and country specific rules without disrupting your existing setup. E-invoicing is not a finance only change, and it is not an IT only build. And if IT teams are not aligned, you end up with something that looks great in a demo, but struggles in production environment. So first, because e-invoicing touches both inbound and outbound workflows, AP and AR have to agree what compliant looks like and what checks need to happen and what should be rejected or accepted. IT then has to translate that into mappings, validations, and monitoring. Second, structured invoicing is only as good as your data. Formats like UBL or C2I do not tolerate gaps or inefficiencies. If VAT IDs, addresses, tax codes, PO references, or item data are inconsistent, invoices will fail validation. And that is why data ownership has to be shared and not bounced between different teams. Third, exemptions are where projects win or lose. Yes, invoices will be rejected, POs will not match, and tax rate will differ. AP and AR teams need a clear playbook for who fixes what, and IT teams need to build the right error handling and audit trail so issues do not turn into manual chaos. Finally, this directly impacts suppliers and customers. Fewer errors mean faster processing, smoother payments, and less friction. And that's why AP, AR, and IT alignment, and especially for an e-invoicing project, isn't optional. It's what will make e-invoicing work in real life. Over to you, Janine.
Unmute. Okay, so let's have a look at a simple set of best practices and how this can help you plan effectively for the e-invoicing mandate. I'll break it down into 3 phases: now, next, and later. So now, get clarity before you build. So don't start building yet in the first 90 days. First, map your invoice flows in SAP. Focus on where you generate customer invoices, where you process supplier invoices, and what sits outside SAP, such as your portals, shared services, or AP and AR tools. Do a quick data check on the fields that drive e-invoicing, VAT IDs, addresses, tax codes, and PO references. Agree on who owns fixing what, because most issues do come from data. And finally, agree on the target design, how SAP connects to the e-invoicing layer and where validation and status handling will sit. If you lock this down early, you will avoid reworking later. And next, over the next 3 to 9 months, prove it with a pilot. Choose an approach and a provider that fit your production needs, not just on paper. Then build and test end to end, including rejections and corrections. Run a small pilot with one entity and one flow. Use it to prove 3 things. 1, the mapping works. 2, exceptions can be handled cleanly. And 3, you have the right audit trail. You really need to lock these down so that you'll be compliant. Later on, and as we sort of, roll towards the 2029 kickoff, you should roll out in waves and operate it like a service. So once the pilot is stable, scale in waves by entity or trading partner groups. Put monitoring in place so finance and IT can see what's sent, what's received, and what's failing. And keep the setup configurable because UK requirements will keep evolving. And the aim is to make the updates easy and not to rebuild every time something changes. Okay. And then let's have a look at e-invoicing mandates across Europe, because they are here and they are coming, and you may be affected by them, even when you're in the UK. So in Germany, from January 2025, every business has been required to receive structured e-invoices. Issuance is from 2027. Then in 2026, several major countries go live. That's Belgium from January. Greece is rolling out in 2 phases. So phase 1 started in February, and phase 2 is in October 2026. Poland is rolling out in 2 phases, February and April. And in France, the rollout starts from September 2026. So looking slightly further out, Ireland is expected to begin a phased B2B rollout from November 2028. And the UK, of course, we all know, is moving towards mandatory e-invoicing for VAT invoices from April 2029. But in practice, if you feel the impact through your suppliers and customers, especially when your EU entities have to comply locally, This is where having the right solution integrated with your SAP system really does help. And to put it out there, Simtrax offers the Complete Invoice platform, an end-to-end e-invoicing solution helping you save time, reduce costs, and maintain strong business relationships, and most importantly, to achieve compliance. We have local offices in European countries, and if you'd like your teams to connect with them, please just let us know. We're here to help you as best we can. Okay, it's time for another poll. Yay. Okay, so this poll, what's your biggest concern about UK e-invoicing? Understanding the UK requirements and timeline, data quality and master data readiness, integration with SAP, costs, resources, and change management. So if you can select one of those, and we'll see what the outcome is and how better to address the next webinar so it brings forth the information that you need. Okay, we'll just wait a few more seconds for those answers to roll out. Okay, Toby, have you got those results for us? Okay, they're quite staggered. And I think the biggest concern at 34%, cost, resources, and change management. Okay, only 22% at integration with SAP. And yeah, we've come across quality data and master data readiness as concerns a lot within the industry. So thanks for that, Toby. We will continue now. Where we're going through now is actually, yes, Michia is going to just speak about a little bit of the solution demonstration, how it works.
Thank you so much, Janine. What I'm going to show you is how Complete Invoice platform, as Janine pointed out, can support your end-to-end invoicing requirements. We'll start with generating or displaying an invoice from SAP ECC6 system and then transforming that invoice into a UBL file format. And you do need a system that can help you achieve this. Next, we'll take that invoice and send it through PayPal. We'll embed the QR code and the necessary changes as required. Then this invoice needs to be submitted via PayPal to your customers and should be tracked through a central dashboard for visibility and compliance. And finally, you'll also be able to receive and process a UBL compliant invoice from a supplier, validate the data in the invoice, and then run it through a 3. Let's begin with the accounts receivable side, where we prepare and display a customer invoice. Okay, so right now I've logged in onto a SAP ECC6 system. And just to note, this is a dummy invoice, and my goal here is to show you how a full end-to-end workflow works. And I'm going to now use my credentials and log in onto the system. Once logged in, I'm then going to put in the T code in order to display you the invoice or the billing document. Okay, so I can see the invoice and the necessary parameters, the item, the description, the quantity, everything, along with the amount. And then I'd like to talk about how the team can come in with the necessary configurations and how we basically set up a logical path from SAP so that when an invoice is generated, it's automatically picked up by our modules. And then the format is converted in the background using the right protocol, in this case, PayPal, and then the invoice is transmitted. You won't see this happening as the process runs in the background, but what you're going to see is the final invoice displayed directly onto our SaaS platform, Complete Invoice platform. So once I've clicked on the execute button, I'm then going to click on print, and then I'll switch onto the interface for Complete Invoice platform. So Complete Invoice Platform is a SaaS-based solution, software as a service-based solution. So your teams can access it very easily using their own credentials. They just need an email and a address and a password. And in this demo, CIP is integrated with SAP ECC6 through APIs. And the solution is ISO 27001 compliant, and you can even log in using your Google or Microsoft credentials. Once logged in, I'm now going to show you the different sections within the solution. You can see the outbound, the inbound invoices, and also all the different controls. When I go to the outbound invoices section, I can see the different parameters such as customer name, invoice number, due date, invoice amount, and these fields for display can be customized as per your current processes. Um, in this case, the invoice or the line item that you see on the very top of my screen is the one that was prepared for transformation. And as I can see here, there's an invoice ID, a unique ID that has been created that's associated with this very invoice. The action status is a success, and all necessary adjustments have been done in this very invoice. When I click on the view email button, as you can see on the screen, the invoice now has a QR code, which is going to be one of the requirements. And then you also see the terms and conditions page, and also any other specific fields that you would need as part of your process. The invoice is also sent to your customer via email. And if I open the attachment, I can see the PDF invoice as I earlier explained, and also the XML file that's embedded along with this PDF invoice for machines to read and process data. Now let's move on to the accounts payable side, where we receive and process a supplier invoice, that to a structured file format. And in this part, I've once again picked up a structured UBL file format, and my objective here is to show you how CIP reads and processes these invoices. And the demo is obviously on a UBL invoice, but we have capability to understand and process C2I, PEPAL, or any other format. Now let me go back to Complete Invoice platform and upload this file to the platform. Uploading is again just one example. In practice, invoices can also arrive by email or through a supplier portal, in which case they go straight into the interface. Once I've chosen the correct file, I'm now going to click on the upload file in CIP button. When I do that, I'll then proceed to my invoices section, where I'll be able to refer all the invoices that have been processed previously and also the new invoices. As you can see, the invoice details have been extracted, and it's now in a human readable format, wherein I can actually see what in the fields in a much clearer way. On the left is the invoice, and on the right are the details that have been extracted from the invoice. There's vendor information, there's customer information, uh, and also if there's any discrepancy in the invoice, the software will be able to flag this for you. We don't just compare the information in the invoice, we actually compare the details that's available in the vendor master database, that's SAP vendor ERP database. And then as I said earlier, we flag it for you if there are any concerns for you to rectify. The software will automatically compute the dates, that is the document date, the due date, and the counting date as per what's there on the invoice. And then I'm also able to see the purchase order that's linked to this very invoice. So as you can see, the line items, the label, the amounts, etc. In the bottom section of my screen, I can see the details for matching and reconciliation purposes, what's there in the billable quantity, what's there in the PO quantity, and if this needs to be verified by someone in my team uh, for for any purposes. If I go to the other requests section, this is quite important because this is one of the ways through which you can interact or exchange communication with your team members. And I understand a few organizations might do this using email or Teams or Slack channel, but if you do this using the software functionality, you'd be able to track all the communication that has happened on this very invoice and can later on see it as a part of the audit trails. So as you can see, I've shared a communication to one of to the respective team member, and yes, I'll not be logged into the platform all the time, so the platform automatically sends a notification on the respective email address of the person concerned, and from there they'll be able to process the request and take the necessary action. We also have a events trail wherein you'll be able to track every touch point of the invoice, who worked on that invoice and at what time. This makes it clearer on whom to approach if there are any issues that come up later at the time of audit. Now, as next steps, I'm going to go ahead and integrate the invoice, and this will synchronize the invoice details and update the status in the with the SAP ECC6 ERP, and you'd be able to see the details directly, not just on CIP but also on your complete invoice. Not just on CIP but also on your SAP ERP. Now you see, CIP can also connect to PayPal and any other transmission channels, and you'll be able to track all invoices that are coming in through this channel directly on our platform. Moving ahead, we also have a dashboard, easy to use dashboard that gives you information, a bird's eye view of all the parameters that gets captured from the invoices and also information in the system. And this can be customized as per your requirements. You can filter by country or department and track invoices from different channels like email, EDI, or shared folders. You can view details for invoices that are pending, and the software also breaks this information down by PO and non-PO. There's also a turnaround time report wherein you'd be able to filter this using a service, using a user or a vendor of your choice. And yeah, we also offer a solution called Compleo Archiver, which I haven't shown today due to time constraints, but this tool basically stores or archives all the invoices and attachments securely for easy access in the future. And in the UK, as Janine pointed out, invoices must be archived for 6 years, and Compleo Archiver makes sure you remain compliant with the mandate. Over to you, Janine.
Thank you, Mihir. So I was just trying to answer some of the questions in the chat. I will get round to everybody's as soon as I can. Yeah, thanks, Mihir, for the demo. I know what you delivered is kind of the generic demo at the moment, done on speculation of the UK e-invoicing requirements, and we know that the demo will evolve as the requirements are decided on. And we all know that e-invoicing can be complex. It can span different countries, that have their own mandates, protocols, and formats. And it can be a daunting task to tackle. So make sure you've got a e-invoicing provider or a specialist, subject specialist to guide you through the transitions. Okay. Who's Simtrax? Okay. Let's hear a little bit about us and who's been presenting to you today. So we are a global company with offices in the US, UK, France, Germany, India, and Singapore, offering international support over the 8 international offices. Ensured compliance. Our solutions are built to adapt to country-specific mandates. As regulations evolve, we ensure your business remains compliant while keeping processes simple and scalable. We have over 3 decades in the business. We've built flexible solutions for organizations across many industries. Our technology continues to evolve with our customers' needs and, of course, the ever-evolving mandates. 24-hour customer service. Because of our global footprint, as I explained earlier, we're available 24 hours to assist our customers whenever they need help. And our proven expertise. We maintain major technology partnerships with Microsoft, SAP, and IBM. So in fact, Simtrax is a SAP Silver partner. However, the CRP integration is ERP agnostic. And what else do we offer? Let's have a look at that, Mahir. So with Complete Invoice Platform, that's our solution for enterprise e-invoicing. With the single solution, AP and AR departments can monitor and manage e-invoices in real time, remain compliant, and meet country-specific mandates. Signature solutions, you can customize and automate digital and electronic signature workflows for your entire enterprise. EDI-ready process automation, we have experience in secure data exchanges, trading between partners with API. Digital data and document transformation. You can enhance and automate your business workflows. So just to wrap up, here are some key questions to ask yourself about the upcoming e-invoicing mandate. Do you handle a large volume of inbound, outbound invoices, or both? Are they domestic, international, or both? Do you have business-specific requirements? And most importantly, can your SAP handle all of these needs easily? So I'll hand over to you, Mahir. I think that's pretty much concluded what we are showing you today.
Thank you, Janine. And before we proceed to the Q&A session, here are my contact details. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or if you're interested in learning more about what we offer. I'll be more than happy to discuss your needs and also set up a product demonstration for your team. Okay, so finally it's time for the Q&As.
Yeah, we've got quite a few in the chat and in the Q&A. We will start going through those. And if we don't get to all of you today, I know Toby will at UK ISAG will send through some of the questions. I'm sure you've got those, Toby, and you'll keep those logged for us and send them through, and we will answer, provided you've given your details and opted in. So I have a question in the chat. Does your solution work with S/4HANA? Yes, it does. So we work across different SAP versions, S/4HANA being one of them. And so today we didn't show you from HANA, we showed you from ECC6, but yes, it is. It can integrate quite easily with S/4HANA. Okay, so the next question I have, if every country has its own format, do I need a separate solution for each one? Mihir, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, sure. So not really if you choose the correct platform. And if I speak about Complete Invoice Platform, our solution to handle both AP and AR processing, we can do the necessary transformation for every country, every format, and then make sure it's dispatched through the correct protocol. In terms of reception, we can read XML file formats and then make sure it's set up in a way that you then perform the NV matching and then the invoice is integrated back onto your SAP system.
Okay. Do we need to store the XML in SAP, or can we archive it outside? Can you answer that one?
Yeah, sure. So either approach can work here. The most important point to note here is that we need to make sure that the structured invoice and the proof of delivery or any other attachments are linked to it, and it's linked back to the SAP document, so that if there's an audit in the future, you have everything you need in order to make it work.
Mihir, maybe you can answer this one. What happens if my ERP can't generate UBL or CII invoices? I think CII was asked maybe to do with the French e-invoicing mandate. Mihir, can you answer that one?
Sorry, can you please repeat that question?
What happens if my ERP can't generate UBL or CII invoices?
Yeah, so this is where practically CIP or the Complete Invoice platform steps in. We sit between your SAP ERP and the customer or the suppliers, and as I said earlier, we do the necessary transformation if it's about outbound invoice processing, and then and if it's about receiving the invoices, we have the capability to read those XML file formats and then do the NV matching.
Okay. What happens in SAP when an invoice is rejected by the recipient or network? Okay.
Yeah, so in this case, the best practice is to route the rejection back to an exception queue, that too with a very clear ownership, and then correct the source data in SAP system, and then resubmit that invoice. And if you don't design this, rejections may turn into communications or manual email chains.
Okay, I've got a question about e-reporting. Does it cover e-reporting when it comes into effect? I just want to clarify if you mean right now with the mandate. Does it cover e-reporting when the mandate comes into effect? So right now, no, the government hasn't gone into e-reporting. They haven't clarified yet. They may look at that later on, but first they want to get the e-invoicing right. The exchange of the invoices and get that right before reporting happens. I think that's a very wise phased approach. And if you're talking about the Complete Invoice platform, if the UK mandate goes to e-reporting and includes e-reporting, yes, Complete Invoice platform will be able to handle e-reporting. Our solution is already doing that for a number of other participating countries, and in particular, the French e-invoicing mandate. Our system is geared for that, and when that rolls out in September, so it can do that too. Okay. Just going through a few. Okay. Here's a question. Does e-invoicing mean I no longer need to archive invoices? Actually, that's a very good question, because you think you're participating in e-invoicing and you would have sufficient information that forms part of that data set. So Mihir, can you answer that one?
Sure, Janine. So no, in most countries, e-invoices must still be archived for several years, and as we mentioned earlier, it's 6 years in the UK for NHS suppliers, and this basically varies from country to country. The difference is you archive the structured file, the XML file, and not just a PDF. And when audit happens, you need to present a readable version of the structured document as well, and not just the structured the XML file. And that's where our archiving solution can help you retrieve those files and present it to you.
Okay. Thanks for that, Mihir. I am listening. I'm just trying to filter this and see if there's any more questions, because I've tried to do them in a systematic approach. Okay, I think I've done all of them. Oh wait, there's more in the chat. Okay. Toby, I see that some people are asking for copies of the presentation and the recording. There will be a recording available to you. I do know that. I know that Toby, I wonder if you can answer that, Toby. I think you put it on the website.
Yes, the recording will be uploaded onto the website, and the slides also, if you need them here, you can send them over. We can
Sure.
get them on the website for everyone to view along with the recording.
No problem at all. We'll do that. Also, if you have opted in with your information, Toby will be able to send that list over to us, and we will send you an email with the recording as well, and some slides and information if you'd like further. Okay. Here's a question here. Will there be a standard output format for the invoice output documents, or just a list of mandatory data points? Can you see that question?
I cannot, but I can answer this question. For now, we don't have those details yet. The consultation, yes, it did finish in November last year, but the detailed stakeholder work is still ongoing, and we may have more details on specific parameters or fields that would be required in order to issue an invoice, probably after budget 2026.
Okay, thanks, Mihir. Yeah, I mean, I can say that we know we have a mandate, and we know that the date that it's supposed to kick off, but we're still waiting for a lot of the requirements to be decided on. What we spoke on today is what's what's working already in the NHS, and what they know works well. So perhaps they'll go that route, which is PEPL with UBL. And I think, we'll have to just wait for the outcomes. And that's why I said our demo was a little bit generic. It doesn't have the exact requirements, because we work on what we know works for NHS and what's working well within the UK at the moment for e-invoicing. And obviously that demo will be specialized as the requirements are pegged down.
Yeah, I also see a question, will this apply to all UK businesses or just businesses over a certain size? So as per the information available from the consultation outcome, we understand that it's going to be applicable for all the businesses starting April 2029, irrespective of the company turnover and size. The government maintains that. Yeah, sorry.
So it's a big bang approach. That's what you're saying
Yes,
here.
that's correct.
It's not a phased approach as in other countries across Europe. Some have participated in. I believe Belgium, they did a big bang approach.
Yes, France, for instance, has gone ahead with a phased approach. Greece has a phased approach as well. So for the UK, from the information we have, it's going to be a big bang approach.
Yeah, maybe that'll change. We'll see. But and thank you for joining us today. As we get more information from the UK government, so we will do another webinar, put some information out there. We've got a lot of blogs and content that comes out, and just communicate with you as we get the information from the government. So hopefully this has been an informative session for you, and it's just the start. So hold on to your seats. I think it's going to be quite a ride, but we've seen it roll out in other countries, and they're getting there. So we'll get there too, and Mihir and I from our London office are here to help you every step of the way. Okay, so thank you for joining us. I think we'll put this to a close now.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Mihir. Thank you all
Thank you,
for
Toby.
joining.
Thank you,
And yeah, there's no more questions. You got through quite a few there, so we'll leave everyone with the information. So we hope to see you again soon. And goodbye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Toby. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.